Hello everyone, welcome to an exclusive interview for the Business Standard. I'm Abrar, and today we are interviewing Bangladeshi origin British fighter Ruqsana Begum, who recently won the WBO Intercontinental Flyweight Championship at one of the grandest boxing events so far held in Bangladesh. Before that, she took the sporting world by storm when she was called up to the Great Britain team and claimed the World Kickboxing Association title before she switched to professional boxing. Ruqsana, it is a pleasure to have you here with us. Welcome. Let's start with, you're back in England now. How does it feel to be back home in England, but this time as the WBO Intercontinental Champion?
I think it's still sinking in. It's a huge achievement, and I set my sights on something that was very uncommon. It's not really been done before, and to become double champion in two different sports, no one thought I could do it, and I'm so proud of myself for being able to stay focused, stay disciplined, stay hungry, and attained my goal. So I'm so proud that I can make a difference now in empowering women and following their dreams, and that deep down you know what your ability is and not giving up.
Let's talk about your fight with Tanzila. What was your game plan going into the match, and what, if anything, was surprising to you during the bout?
I didn't know a lot about Tanzila. All I knew is that boxing is new in Bangladesh, so I didn't expect her to be as good as she was. I mean, she was an amazing athlete. She was hungry, she was durable, she was resilient, so hats off to her. She was amazing. But then I was the stronger fighter and I had a better strategy, and I think as the rounds went on I was able to find and expose her weaknesses more, and she didn't have an answer for it. I think the first 3 to 4 rounds it was quite even, and she countered most of my punches, and I was like, okay, we're in a fight. This will go the distance. So yeah, it was a great experience to be in a ring with Tanzila and having that caliber of fighter, because it's like a chess game. So it was fun for me.
Yeah. Right. So as you pointed out, it's no secret that women's boxing in Bangladesh still has a long way to go. And do you think Tanzila stepped up to the challenge? And I mean, at the end of the day, you won the match. What would your advice be to Tanzila going forward for her next matches?
I honestly think she's got a great future, and she was strong, she was resilient, she was hungry, she's got all the attributes that makes an amazing, dangerous fighter. She's still young, and she's going to learn through experience as well. And sometimes failure teaches you the biggest lessons in your life. And I think she'll do phenomenal in the sport.
Going back to the state of women's boxing in Bangladesh, what would you suggest that the boxing community or the fight community in Bangladesh do to take women's boxing to a more international level?
I think first and foremost, they need to introduce boxing into schools and after-school activities or clubs where women feel safe and empowered. It's not a sparring match, but somewhere that they can go and gain confidence, learn to box with other females, and slowly, gradually increase that. One of the things that I do in England is run my own ladies-only classes. And believe me, initially when they come in, they're timid, they're shy, they don't have any confidence. 3 months later, they're thriving in the sport, and because they've been able to discover themselves with this, they suddenly gain confidence in other areas of their life. So it definitely has a ripple effect where someone gains confidence through the sport, the physical attribute changes, the mental strength changes, the inner confidence changes. So it's such a powerful tool to be able to introduce boxing or sport and then encourage women to kind of propel forward.
Now let's discuss your journey in the world of combat sports a bit. Now you initially started with Muay Thai. Initially, did you just take it up as a hobby, or did you always want to compete?
I mean, I grew up watching Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali from an infant, and I fell in love with the sport. I discovered it when I was 18, and I absolutely loved the fact that you had to stay so focused, so disciplined. You have to take responsibility for your own actions, because in the ring, it's just me and my opponent. There's no one else. There's not a team really. No one else is fighting for me. It's only me. So I love that challenge. I love the fact that I could rise to that challenge. So initially, it did start off as a hobby because, as you know, it's very uncommon for women even in the Western world in the 80s to go into martial arts and then compete at a high level. So it was unheard of for someone like myself to be in a competitive sport such as Muay Thai kickboxing. So I started quite late, and I'm proud that I managed to go all the way.
Your first championship came in 2011, and so it's 2023. This is another championship in a different sport. How would you describe the difference in experiences, and how would you say you grew over the last decade as a fighter and also as just a combat athlete in general?
So I won my British title, professional title in Muay Thai kickboxing in 2010. And then I was also representing Great Britain in the amateur scene, which is like the Olympics. So I had a vast amount of experience and I loved it. And I think the transition was difficult initially because I underestimated the fact that it's two different sports. If you're good at one thing, that doesn't necessarily mean you will be a champion in another sport, because you have to retrain your body, untrain what you've learned to reprogram yourself. So that can be even more difficult than someone starting fresh in the sport. But yeah, I definitely felt that I had transferable skills, and I've already done it in one sport, so I knew what it takes to become a champion. I just had to apply the same formula in a different sport. So yeah.
Okay, so you started with Muay Thai, but you decided to shift to boxing. Why did you decide to make that switch?
So I became a world champion in Muay Thai kickboxing in 2016. And I remember my younger brother saying something to me in the car, and my father was sitting next to him, and he said, "We have Amir Khan who inspires the young Asian community, but we don't have a female that does that." And I thought to myself, oh no, I will be selling myself short if I didn't try. So that's where my motivation came from, because I felt as though as long as I'm representing, I'm already a champion. I will make such a huge impact in my community, in the Muslim community, for women in general. And I had to try.
Right. Okay. So we've read your book, and there you describe how you were raised in a conservative family. How did you balance your training with that upbringing, and what struggles did you go through to pursue a career in training, in fighting?
It was incredibly difficult because, when I started Muay Thai kickboxing, there was hardly any Western women in the gym in a brutal sport like Muay Thai kickboxing. I think nowadays, sport is so much more accessible, it's so much more fashionable. Everyone goes to the gym, whether it's for fitness or to train or to be an athlete. Whereas back then it was unheard of. So it was incredibly difficult to be able to balance my home life, my school life, my education. I was torn between two cultures, Eastern and Western. On one side I had my Bangladeshi values, my Islamic values, and on the other side had, the Western progressive mentality. And I was caught between all of those identities. I didn't know which one I belonged to. And I think it took me around 30 years to come to peace with who I am and bridge the gap between all of those identities that I carry. And I think I'm all of those things now. I'm not disrespectful to any of those things. I think it makes me who I am. I'm progressive, I'm modern, but I also have very strong roots.
You also worked as an architect for a while. How did you balance your training while working a full-time job as an architect?
So once I graduated from university, I did pursue architecture. I worked for around 2 years before the recession started. At that time, training was a passion. You know, I used to only train once a week. I didn't think it would become a career, but in my heart, I've always wanted to pursue that as a career. But I knew it was something that wasn't acceptable, especially within my community. So I didn't pursue it until the recession happened in England in 2008, 2009, and I applied myself in the sport, and within a year I got selected for Team GB. So I think I went from strength to strength then.
Ruqsana, in your book, you opened up about certain mental health problems that you faced regarding anxiety, panic attacks. In the macho culture of combat sports, that's not something that's easy to open up about. And how would you suggest that fighters and athletes deal with their inner demons? And how should they open up about it? How should they handle their mental health along with their physical health while they're training to fight?
I think that's a very important question that you asked. And, quite often people think we're fighters and we're strong, and they don't reveal how they're really feeling. And to me, it's about being transparent, being honest with yourself, and being able to address situations. At the end of the day, we're all human, and we will all encounter some sort of, I think 1 in 4 encounters mental health issues in some aspect of their life. And it's important to be able to seek help, to talk about it, and learn strategies to deal with it. For me, I just felt, this is new to me. I'm a fighter. Why am I experiencing this? But at the end of the day, it is about overcoming that situation and seeking help and reaching out to people that can help you. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad I was able to share my story, because I think it will help so many people from all walks of life to realize that we're all human and we do need to seek help at some point.
Would you say fighting helps you with the mental health conditions? And is that something that fighters can rely upon to become more mentally stronger?
I think definitely the discipline of being an athlete and controlling my emotions, being composed, staying focused, being disciplined, these are all attributes I have cultivated over a period of 20 years. So I think definitely helps me. When I encounter a difficult situation, I can take myself out of the situation, try and seek a different perspective, stay calm under pressure. These are all strategies I've learned through the art of boxing. So absolutely, I do believe that sport has so much to offer in terms of mental health and how to deal with that.
Well, in your book, you described your struggles growing up in a conservative family and also trying to balance fighting with that. See, a lot of women fighters in Bangladesh also go through that. How would you suggest they go about their training and fight the same struggles that you have went through?
I think for me, it was all about bridging the gap and being respectful to everyone's values. Like, I had to be respectful to my parents, and I knew it was a very difficult thing for them to allow their daughter, young Asian Muslim female daughter, walk into a gym, and also try and be the best I can be in a sport that is quite tough, and give it 100% to my gym, to myself, to my coach. It was a difficult one, but I think what I managed to do is be honest and be respectful to both parties and to myself, and still pursue my dreams and desires, but in the best respectful manner that I could be. I don't think I was ever aggressive or loud. I think I just found a nice tone to be able to speak to people and communicate and educate people in what I'm trying to achieve and bring people on my side. With my parents, it was hard, but at the same time, I asked my mom to pray for me before fights, and she would always do that. She was always asking me to read a prayer before a competition, but I totally understand that it was not something they wanted me to pursue. But then they are making such a big difference in my community that I feel like it's bigger than me. My cause is bigger than myself.
So after so many fights, what does boxing and combat sports in general mean to you? And what do you plan to do going forward?
I think it's always about self-improvement, growth, inspiring people, and that's what sport gave me. It gave me a platform to inspire people to be the best version of themselves, to endure failure and to overcome that. And that's the message that I want to send out to, people from my community, to young girls out there, because you will be faced with adversity and tests. And it's about how you respond to that rather than how you react. And I think that's the best lesson sport has taught me.
So what's next for the WBU Intercontinental Champ? When are we next seeing you fight in Bangladesh?
Well, inshallah, the goal is to become a world champion. But I think I've always said to myself that I've already achieved what I needed to in the sport. But if God wills, I will continue. But I would love to write book number 2 and talk about my journey as a boxer now. And looking forward to seeing Born Fighter become a film. So that's another aspect that I'm focusing on at the moment. But yeah, the journey is about reaching out to young girls and inspiring them. And it doesn't have to be in sport, it could be in any field. But it's about being resilient and overcoming obstacles.
Is that something you would like to do here in Bangladesh? Because a lot of Bangladeshi boxers and women in general do look up to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm really honoured, honestly. It meant a lot. I think one of the biggest achievements for me was to be in Bangladesh, in my home country, and to fight for a title. Like, I could not have planned it any better. And I think when God opens a door, no one can close that. And for me, that was the most humbling and beautiful experience, to be able to really inspire my community.
Well, Ruqsana, thank you very much for the interview. And I believe I speak for everyone when I say this, all boxing and fight fans in Bangladesh. We would love to see you fight here in a Bangladeshi ring again. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was an interview with Ruqsana Begum, the WBO Intercontinental Flyweight Champion, who fought her last match in Bangladesh in one of the grandest boxing events ever. For more videos like this and for more interviews from the combat sports world, please stay tuned with us at TBS.